The Dream Center started in 2014, and at the time I was leading worship at a local church, and through that I had somebody reach out to me, which kind of surprised me because I was at an affluent church and just everything was going well, but she reached out and she said, "I'm going to be homeless and I don't know what to do." God used that to get my attention, that said, don't ignore the needs around you. And I prayed that prayer. It's a dangerous prayer when you say, "God, open my eyes to see the need," and He does. And I was humbled by it. I was broken through that. Just started prayer walking. Just started saying, "Lord, what do you want me to do? How can I do it?" And I just really grew in a passion for the lost and for the hurting. And I'll never forget pulling up in front of a hotel parking lot that was a beat up old hotel that was closed down. But it was at that point where I just saw the Lord prompted me to start a Dream Center. God used that one circumstance to really shape me and to open my eyes, and that was the moment for me. It was February 17th, 2014, that just rocked my world, and from there we began making some steps towards what does that mean, and how do we shape our life to pursue what God's placed on our heart.
Right, awesome.
So.
Yeah, so what does a typical week look like for you guys at the Dream Center? How do you guys kind of go into the community and really just, love on the people that are around us?
Yeah, well, when we first started, what we did was we started taking groceries into a local community, and it was kind of fascinating to me back in the time in 2014, because it was just through, as the Lord would lead, I met somebody living out of his car who was parked at his cousin's apartment, and we started taking food and just caring for the person God put in front of me. And through that, we started taking a trunk full of groceries. I would just fill up my car and we'd go out to these communities, and we started what we called an adopted block, and that's our second and fourth Saturday ministry, which we still do. That program's been going for 7 years now. But I remember a missions pastor saying, "Jeremy, you've unlocked something, like what's your secret?" And I'm like, I don't know, it's not rocket science to love people, and it's just the willingness to go. And then over time, we've just served in more and more communities. We started with one, and from there we've grown into a number of communities that God has led us to.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, so what has this past year looked like for you guys? I know that, for just really our city and everybody's been hurting tremendously. So how has the Dream Center stepped in and really kind of met a lot of those needs?
Friday, March 13th is when, what was the last day the Wake County school system met? And I remember as a parent getting an email from the school saying, your child is not going to go to school for 2 weeks. There was something in me. I went to work on Monday, told our staff, I said, "Look, I don't know how we're going to do this or what we're going to do, but everybody's quarantined, everybody has to stay home," which is a good thing for the pandemic side of it, but people are hurting. I want us to run to the fire and go feed people. These kids, they're not getting the free and reduced lunches. How can we bring the food to them? And I said, we went from serving the second and fourth Saturdays, that was our pattern. I said, we're going to serve Monday through Friday, every day of the week. And that first week, we took school meals into these 5 communities that we were serving, and we did 4,000 meals that first week. And then the county got involved. They said, what's going on here? And can you go into more communities? And I said, I'd be willing to, but we're a gospel organization. We want to share our faith, and that's what drives us. And they're like, we don't care. We just want people to go feed. So how many communities can you do? So I said, well, let's call local churches. Let's get them plugged in. And we started going to community after community. And within about 6 weeks, we went from serving, it was 7 communities, really, we went into 27 communities in the first 6 weeks. And we were doing 30,000 meals a week. It was just ridiculous, but it was really the church just showing up in major ways throughout the county. And now we've ended up, over the course of 1 year, we've touched 48 communities, and we've served 1.2 million meals in 1 year. And to us, that's the Lord. That's loaves and fishes. That's a trunk full of groceries to 100,000 meals a month. And that's the Lord's doing. And so it's because of local churches like you that step in, that say, hey, we want to do something. We're serious about reaching the community. And so that's the power of the local church.
Yeah, that's incredible. So Jeremy, why is this your problem?
Well, I think, more than it's my problem, I feel like it's the believer's issue. When you look at the scripture and you see Jesus giving that example of, I was hungry and you fed me, I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. It's really the believers who step back and say, well, when did we do that? Well, that's in fact how a believer should live. That's in fact how a believer should operate. But I said, Lord, I want to pastor the gangbanger. I want to pastor the prostitute. I want to be a pastor to the hurting and broken, to the addicted. And all this list of people that came out of my mouth just was shocking to me. And I was broken and I cried. I wept over it. I wept over our city and the destruction of darkness that's around us. And I just said, Lord, I don't know what one person can do, but I'm going to say yes. And that simple yes changed my life. And it can change yours. It could change whoever's listening to this. A simple yes to the Lord. It's God that does the big things, because He loves the hurting. He loves the homeless more than I do. And He sent His Son to die for us even while we were in that sin. Romans 5:8 that talks about that. So that's the heart behind, and it just came alive to me. And I just said, Lord, use me. If you would use me, I'm available.